Another video and hopefully another article to go with it. Um, yeah, so it's a bit. I last time I did a video, I tried to do it during the day using daylight because this overhead light is a little bright, and if I don't have the yeah, it's a little bright. I've even got a shirt wrapped over the bulb, and it's still a little too bright. It diffused it a little, but it's yeah, not enough. So um, let's tidy up a little bit here. These are some fudge. This is some fudge that my dad, well, I'm assuming it was my dad. It might have been mum that picked out for me for a Christmas present. I'm slowly munching through them, but I've still got a few left. They're good. Um, I like whiskey. I don't have it very often, but I like it. So, um, exciting news. I sold a copy of this book that I'm in. This is actually a replacement for the one I sold. See, there's my name right there. Um, yeah, there. It's so my story in it is called Murder Inc. And there it is, Murder Inc. by Anthony Copeland, which is pretty awesome. It's really cool seeing myself in print. But I took it to work and was chatting to one of the guests about writing in general, and he bought the copy that I had. So this is the replacement. Maybe I'll get to keep this one, but if I don't, that's okay too. Maybe someone else will buy it. And I'll just keep ordering replacements. If people keep buying them, that's not a problem. So yeah, that was fun. That was kind of cool and flattering getting that done. So as some of you may know, I'm no longer the admin of the Creative Writers Group, um, which is a shame. It was when I set it up, it was originally a very uh, loose and friendly group, um, everybody helping each other out. But and we got with that attitude and with that approach, I got it from 32 members up to a ridiculous amount. Um, I'm hoping that it's still floating around the membership that I got it up to, but it wouldn't surprise me if people had left because the new version of what Creative Writers has become since Monolith, the anthology project we were working on together, fell apart, has been a lot more strict, a lot more rules. Um, we shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have people in the group in the first place that are going to need rules to behave themselves. But some of the rules are just overly restrictive, and which is frustrating. But and a lot of the people who are talented and creative have ended up leaving the group out of frustration. Um, but I've learned a lot from the group, and I'm planning on writing a book about writing based on the frequently asked questions that from the group. Um, so I know what kind of thing that people who are trying to be writers want to know, and I'm using that to write a book. But I've noticed that I tend to procrastinate and not get things done. So, um, partly inspired by a book I read called How to Be Awesome. I believe that's what it's called. Let me just double check. Um, I'll keep talking while I'm checking it out. But they their success, the writer of this book, um, their success started with creating an accountability group to make sure that he was doing what he was doing. Yes, there it is. How to Be Fucking Awesome by Dan Meredith. Um, I need to get around to actually following him on Facebook because it's a really good book. And but yeah, I think the next group I'm going to make is going to be an accountability group designed to not be a distraction from writing like creative writers had become, particularly for me because I was every spare moment I was logging on to Facebook and checking out creative writers and trying to sort the mess out um, instead of writing. I'm so hopefully this new group won't be quite so distracting and will actually help keep me on task because left to my own devices, um, I will often spend several hours playing Skyrim instead of writing. I love Skyrim. It's a great game, and the storylines in it are terrific, which is part of the reason why I love it. It's because it's got good stories. But yeah, I need to actually finish my books. Um, I need to finish the Haunted Story. I need to continue the Hermes 9 to 5. I need to get this How to Write book written. And it would be lovely if I could also pick Leveling Up, a gamer's guide to self-help off the back burner and apply some of the stuff I've read about and learned. Because I know how to improve my life. I've read so many books on the subject of being successful. It's ridiculous. And yet I'm still not doing it, which is really frustrating. This actually came up in a therapy session I had this week. Um, so at least I'm actually pursuing, I'm actually trying, actively seeking ways to help me out of this, um, and gain support and help to do it. And I think having an accountability group would be very helpful, not just for me, but for the other members of the group, I hope. Um, I'm thinking of calling it the Book Factory, and part of the reason why I've chosen that name is because I still have this dream in the future of um, running a business that helps people write, um, that actually hires writers to write, pays them pays them a wage to write every day. So you come in and do an 8 hour shift of um, brainstorming, planning, writing, revising, editing stories, books to get them written and done. It's basically an account. It's the business holds you accountable, and you get paid, which is nice. Because one of the frustrating things about being a writer, of course, is that you don't get any money from all your effort until you gain and until you sell the books, until you get royalties. In the meantime, it can be hours and hours of work for no payback, which is daunting and exhausting, and sometimes and you end up, of course, taking a day job to make ends meet and being so exhausted from that day job that all you want to do when you're not at work is sleep or play Xbox, or at least that's my excuse. Um, that's, I've been I'm making myself do this even though again I'm tired and I want to either go to sleep or eat something, which I've been doing way too much of. I'm fat. I need to actually address this. I need to admit that I'm fat so that I can resolve this. Um, yes, I may actually have to exercise, which is horrible. I don't have enough time to do anything as it is, and I somehow have to fit in exercise. But yeah, exercise is boring. I wish there was some way to storify um, exercising. In fact, one of the things that I wrote into Hermes 9 to 5 is augmented reality exercise games. The main character likes to play this augmented reality um, shoot 'em up called, featuring creatures called zombie aliens. I think it's called Invasion of the Dead. Was the title I came up with for this game in the story. It's been a while since I need to revise it all, but yeah, I like the idea of running around real streets, shooting at things that only you can see. Of course, with the Environ network, these augmented reality devices that everybody has um, strapped to the back of their necks, they would be they would know exactly what the main character is doing and can actually enter the game as an NPC or a co-op player, or even playing as an intelligent opponent. Um, so you could take on the role of a zombie alien against the 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 the, the, the player, which is fun. But yeah, I think it would be I think if exercise had a storyline and a plot and a point besides getting fit, I think it would be a lot. I think it'd be more fun. I think a lot more people would do it. But particularly if you earned reward points, RPs, like you do in my story for doing it. But anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent there. I need to hold myself accountable, and since I'm terrible at holding myself accountable, I need other people to do it, and so having some kind of accountability group would be fantastic. Um, and since there isn't already a business that does this, since I can't actually get a job as a fiction writer and have a manager reminding me to get writing and following up on my progress and making sure I meet my goals, we're going to have to do it for each other. We're going to have to be each other's um, accountability buddies for now. Um, if, of course, like I said, the group is wildly successful and I end up churning out books like I want to and earning a ridiculous amount of money in royalties. Um, Again, I know, pipe dream. I know that the vast majority of writers um, barely make enough to scrape by. Never mind um, having enough money to start a business, but I hold out hope because I know that there are some people who have become wildly successful and make 5 and 6 figure incomes from writing and um, public speaking and offering courses on how to write and stuff like that. And calm down, happen. But but yeah, it would be nice if I could get out of my own way so that I can actually have a chance of becoming as wildly successful as some of the other authors I admire and follow. Some of whom managed to do so off of writing alone, like my idol Neil Gaiman, who, yes, he does interviews and stuff like that. Um, and yes, he's also married to a musician, but as far as I can tell, he makes the majority of his income, the bulk of his income, from writing and screenwriting, which is awesome. Um, Maybe he invests too. I don't know, but yeah, um, I'd like to be able to do that as well. Um, I know from reading books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is Robert Kiyosaki, great book. Um, Also, highly recommend that. He talks about um, he talks about investing for for fun and profit. Um, and you can just if you're doing it, if you can make mistakes, of course, and invest in the wrong things, but if you're lucky, you can just put money somewhere and let it grow for a year and either um, continue to invest in it after that year is up or pull out. Most of the time, Robert um, Robert Kiyosaki just pulls out and does something else. He mostly invests in real estate and turns it over after a year. Just, you know, invests in the property, waits a year, sells it on for a profit or a loss if it's not made any money. But either way, he gets rid of it after a year, which is kind of cool. Um, it'd be nice to be able to do something like that. But yeah, I need to invest. At the moment, I do have a little bit of money saved away, but I know that I'm going to have to use that to keep afloat while I'm looking for work in Kidwelly because I'm planning on moving to South Wales to be closer to my family because I'm a lot happier near my family. Hopefully, they will also help hold me accountable and make sure I'm writing every day, and also make sure that I'm being sociable and getting out of the house too. Because it's a fine balance. Because at the moment, I'm spending way too much time sitting in my room telling myself I should be writing, telling my and not, which is annoying. Because I could be using that time to hang out with some of the friends that I still have up here. I don't have many. It would be nice to actually spend some time with them before I leave. But well, they're busy too. Um, one of my friends is recently engaged, so of course he's spending a lot of time with his fiancée, understandably, and all power to him. I think that's beautiful. Um, I didn't do well with marriage, but I, they're a lovely couple, and I wish them all the happiness in the world. He's also when he working on a coding project. He's got his pet project where he's writing a game um, and figuring out how to write it as he goes, which is amazing. Um, I don't have a head for coding. I haven't been able to. I like the story. I would love to write a script for a game, but actually writing the game itself is horrendous. No, I can't actually hold my. I can't pay attention to the process of learning to code long enough to learn it. Yeah, I daydream. I'm pretty sure that if I'm that I have ADHD of some kind. Um, I'm not sure. Yeah, I know I've mentioned autism before, but I don't know. We'll see. If I there's no point in, as the therapist pointed out, there's no point in continuing my therapy sessions up here in Barrow, in the northwest of England, if I'm moving to South Wales within a week or two. Speaking of which, I sort of have a job lined up with a caravan park. I don't know if I'm going to take it because um, it starts, the job starts on the 1st of February, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be there by the 1st of February. Um, it's not going to be full time right away because the season hasn't started. The season doesn't start until next month, um, and it's about a 20-minute walk from my parents' house, and the flat that I want is another 10 minutes walk from there. So it would be a 30-minute walk in whatever weather to get there, and there's no cell phone service when I get there. But it would be a job. It would be money coming in while I'm looking for work. Of course, ideally, I would just use my savings to um, keep me afloat while I write furiously every day and hopefully get a book out and make a go of actually being a full-time writer. But I also know that the chances of finishing a book and earning enough royalties to stay afloat to maintain a full-time career within a month is not realistic, and I don't think I've got 1,000 saved up. Um, I might be able to make it last 2 months if I don't have if I'm living with my parents, but the flat that I'm looking at is 400 a month, which is fantastic. But of course, that's only going to leave me with um, just over 500 after I've paid my uh, council tax too to last me. And yeah, that's only going to be about a month. Sure. Um, maybe I will try and get a Patreon site or some other crowdfunding site going again. But I know from experience that it didn't last. That it wasn't. I had absolutely no interest in it. The last time I tried to run a Patreon site for the Creative Writers Group, even when it was for, even when the money was supposed to be for the Monolith project, the anthology that was going to help out a bunch of other writers. Most writers are broke, and even if you tell them that all it'll take is a dollar each to completely fund the project, they still don't do it, or at least they didn't with in the Creative Writers Group. So that was. So I don't think I can rely on crowdfunding to do it. I think I'm going to have to just suck it up and take a job, a traditional job, and somehow work, find a way to write around it, and hopefully not be so exhausted by the job that I can that I can. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Um, I'd also rather not do another bar and restaurant job because I know that um, because I've recently had anxiety issues with crowds of people I don't know, particularly drinking people, and I don't want to. And I'm actually worried that I won't be able to hold down another bar and restaurant job. But of course, my therapist pointed out that worrying is part of the problem. If I need to learn to worry less. Now, um, I know that there are cognitive therapy exercises that involve exposing yourself deliberately to the things that make you anxious to um, overcome them by exposure, by proving to yourself time and time again that it's not the end of the world, that it's not as bad as you think. But I'm not sure that works because I have an amazing imagination, and I know that I've just because it didn't end in disaster this time doesn't mean it won't. Um, every situation has the potential to turn horrible at a moment's notice. Um, there are chemicals in your body that could cause you to spontaneously combust and explode if it weren't for certain membranes that um, keeping the chemicals apart. Um, of course, it's very unlikely that I will explode spontaneously as I'm talking to you on video. But wouldn't that be fantastic? Of course, if that did that happened, I wouldn't be able to upload it, but um, it would be amazing viewing. It would be unfortunate for me, of course, but I'm aware that I could die from, say, a heart attack, which is much more likely at a moment's notice, which is another reason why I need to get fitter to reduce my chances of that. Except, of course, I also know that heart attacks can happen to anybody, whether they're healthy or not, as can cancer and a million other horrible things that can happen. And of course, that's not the issue when I'm in public with a crowd of people. My issue with the crowd of people is that they won't like me, that they'll criticize me, ridicule me, um, that I'll embarrass myself and lose face and never be able to um, convince them that I'm worth something. And that's what it's all. I think that's why I push myself so hard, is because I have this need to um, to be valuable, to show that I'm worth something. Um, and at the moment, I don't feel like I'm accomplishing it. I don't. Yeah. So yeah, my mission in life is to um, make my life worth something, and I know I have value to certain people in my life, including my family, mostly my family. Um, I worry that certain other people, people that I consider friends, would soon forget me if I went away. Um, that it wouldn't that I wouldn't make that much an impact on their lives if I was gone. I aim to change that because I can't live like that. I can't be pointless. I don't want to be forgotten. I don't want to be forgettable. Which is, I know it's ridiculous. I know it's borderline insane, but I I need to be something. Anyway, I will be. I'm going to make it happen. I'm determined to make it happen, but I need help because for some fucked up reason, I'm not I'm not able to do it on my own. Um, as much as I want, as determined as I am to succeed and be something, I still find myself turning on the Xbox instead, and it's really frustrating. So help me, please, any way you can. Um, Pester me to keep writing. If you're a fellow writer and you are in a similar boat that you feel like you don't have enough drive and discipline to keep yourself writing, then please look for the Facebook group that I'm going to create called The Book Factory. And so, yeah, that once I'm finished making this video, the next couple of things on my agenda is to create said Facebook group and then also create an article to accompany this video. And the reason I know it seems silly to do the video first, but the video takes so long to upload that I'm going to have to pass the time somehow. And as tempting as it would be to continue playing Skyrim, as soon as this video has ended, I feel that that would kind of defy the point. I really need to make myself get things done, and that would be, I think, a lot easier if there are people who care about my progress. And I know my family care about my progress, which is why I'm moving to be closer to them. And I will, hopefully I'll create a group of people, small, intimate group of fellow writers who also care, and of course, um, who I care about equally. And it should be good. It's a good plan. Let's see if it works out. Anyway, if you have any questions, concerns, or insightful points to make, feel free to find me on Facebook and message me, or leave a comment on the YouTube video or on the WordPress post I'm about to make. Yeah, so I hope I haven't depressed anybody. Hopefully, I will instead have um, triggered some similar. Yeah, hopefully, I'll have people inspired by this instead of depressed by it. And hopefully we'll be awesome together in the future. And yeah, have a great day. Thanks for listening, watching, reading, whatever.